So kung ano man matapos natin, siguro that may do. Okay. So let's begin our discussion. Okay. So in biochemistry, apat yung mga biomolecules no na aaralin natin. Okay. And then ano yung mga yan, no? So of course we have the carbohydrates. Yeah. This is the first biomolecule we should understand, followed by lipids. Okay. Yung mga nasa cell membrane, no? Followed by nucleic acid, I mean protein. Okay, and lastly is the nucleic acid. Okay, so these are the four most important biomolecules in chemistry or in biology. No? And all of them play function. No? All of them play a role, no, in sustaining balance in our life. No? Without any of this, no, life is impossible. Okay, and their existence has been proven, over time by evolution. No, kasi dati we just started with simple molecules, no, pero ngayon we are complex humans na, no, we evolved, no, to be higher order species, no, and with that, no, with the processes that happened for millions of years, no, mas lalong na-define natin yung importance nitong apat na biomolecules, no? Because without one of them, no, life is very impossible to exist at all. Okay? So, yung apat na biomolecules, I know you are somehow familiar with the nucleic acid, no? Kasi yung mga classmates yun na FB friend ko, nakikita ko yung yung mga post nila, no? Last sem na dinidiscuss yung yung Okazaki fragment, no? Yung mga central dogma. So I know you are somehow familiar with the nucleic acid, no? So I think hindi siya i-cover ng ating biochem class, no? Ang focus ng biochem class natin would be the first three biomolecules, no? Because nucleic acid will be more discussed, no, when you reach your um, other biology subjects. Okay, so ganun. Okay, so expect that in the next few weeks, ito yung i-discuss natin. Itong carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. Okay. So now, focus tayo on carbohydrates. Some of you may be eating your merienda right now, and that is a form of carbohydrate. Okay. So alamin natin saan yung gawa. Okay, and then in the next few weeks, we will discuss the function of those uh, carbohydrates. Okay. So yung carbohydrates natin, masyadong malawak yan, no? We can classify them based on their structural units, no? So yung carbohydrate, it encompasses all types of sugar around us, no? All types of sugar around us, no? So sugars natin or saccharides, they can exist as mono, di, oligo, or polysaccharides, no? Okay, so discuss natin yan in the few sessions we have, no? And then we will study the function of the carbohydrate, and also today we will have a review of chirality. Okay, so hindi lahat i-discuss ngayon, no? Pahapyawan na natin para meron na tayong idea on what to expect next week, no? Okay, begin with the definition of carbohydrate, no? Kasi alam natin, oh yes, yung pagkain, that's a carbohydrate, no? Pero what does this mean? Ano ba talaga meaning niya, no? What does it mean, no? Okay? So when I say carbohydrate, no, carbo meaning carbon, hydrate meaning water. Okay? So basically, carbohydrates are hydrates of carbon, and they have the general formula CH2O N. Okay, where N tells us ilang carbon ang meron, ilang hydrogen meron, times 2, and ilang oxygen meron. Okay, so carbohydrates has this general formula, CH2O, close parentheses, N. Okay, so depending on the number of carbon, we can classify our carbohydrates as different types na later pakita natin. Okay, so yan. Yun lang yung definition ng carbohydrates. These are the hydrates of carbon, specifically found in many sugars, na, or almost all sugars. Okay, so sila ay carbohydrate. And also, we should take note that carbohydrate is the most abundant organic compound in the world. No? Okay, one evidence of this is yung kahoy natin sa bahay, no? We use carbohydrates, no, as structural components even in our houses, no? And also yung ating mga halaman, no? If you are a plantito or plantita, you are basically taking care of a species that produces carbohydrates, no? Okay? Itong desk ko, carbohydrates to, pero hindi ko pwede kainin kasi hindi ako anay. Ano pa? Kinakain nyo right now, no? So, all those are organic molecules, no? And they are considered carbohydrates, okay? So, that's why we say that carbohydrate is the most abundant organic compound in the world, no? Okay? So, actually, sa lahat ng mga plants sa buong mundo, no? About 75%, no? Is equivalent to the carbohydrates. Now, about 75% of their mass is carbohydrate, followed by water and other molecules. Okay? So, ano ba yung purpose ng carbohydrate? So, ito na nga. So, one of the purpose of carbohydrate is to serve as a structural element and to provide energy reserves for plants, no? So, we know yung cellulose, di ba? The cellulose is the component of the cell wall, di ba? So, yung mga yon ay ginagamit nila, no, to provide good structure sa halaman, no? Para yung leaf matibay, yung trunk matibay, and then pinuputol natin yun to create houses na matibay din, no? Okay? So, basically, carbohydrates are used as structural elements, not only by plants, no, but also as humans as we cut those trees, no? Okay? So, yan. So, yan yung isang primary purpose niya, to serve as a structural element, no, for plants. For humans, no, we consume carbohydrate because it is a short-term energy source, no. Okay? Pag nagugutom ka, gagawin mo, kumain ka. Okay? Kaya inom ka dextrose, no, if hindi kaya kumain. Okay? So that is a short-term energy source, and we know that carbohydrates, once we digest it, they are converted into much smaller particles, no, through several metabolic processes, no, such as the glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport chain. Okay? So actually, hindi lang dun nag-start, no? Even ang main digestion process talaga, it happens in our mouth, no? Wherein we cut the food into smaller chunks, our amylase, no, allows for the molecules to break down even faster, and yun, all the acids in our stomach will further digest them para sila ay maging smaller size, no? Okay, so yan. So carbohydrates are sources of energy for us humans. Okay, not only humans, na animals din. And also, one of the important, no, or siguro hindi to obvious for some of you, no, carbohydrate is important as a structural framework for the DNA and the RNA, no. Okay, ano ba meaning ng DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid, no? RNA, ribonucleic acid. The word ribo, in those two words, no, yung ribo na yon, that is actually derived from the sugar ribose, no? So yung ribose, pwedeng wala siyang OH, that's why we call it deoxy. Pwede namang may OH siya, so that's why we call it just the ribose, no? So iyan ay isang important component of our DNA and RNA that will code for our genes, no? So diyan natin makikita yung ating mga phenotype, no, and stuff, no. So you know more about that, no. So basta ang alam natin is that even sugars, no, even in our DNA and RNA, we can see sugars there. Okay? So yan yung importance ni carbohydrates, no. Again, carbohydrates, it roughly translates to hydrate of carbon, carbohydrate, no? And it has a general formula of CH2O, close parentheses, N, no? Where N tells us how many carbons or how many hydrogens, how many oxygens are there. Okay? It is the most abundant organic molecule. Obviously, tingin ka lang sa labas ng bahay nyo, ang daming halaman, even us, no? May mga carbohydrate tayo, no? Okay? Even sa ating mga fats, no? Sa ating mga bilbil, no? May mga carbohydrates din doon, no? In the form of glycogen and many more. Okay? So, yan yung carbohydrates natin. So, Ang ating carbohydrates, just as I showed you earlier, no, we can classify them based on their structure, no, as monosaccharide, disaccharide, oligosaccharide, or polysaccharide. No. Sometimes sa ibang textbook, itong oligo at poly, pinagsasama na nila. Okay? We're not really that strict naman. Okay? Okay, so ano yung difference nila? No? Kapag sinabi nating monosaccharide, we just refer to one sugar unit. No? Isang sugar unit lang yan. So, kumbaga, ito lang yan. Isang bilog lang siya. Okay? Isang molecule lang siya. However, when you do some chemical reaction, they can combine. No? They can combine to form disaccharide. No? So, magiging dalawa na sila. Disaccharide. Then, if you combine several of them, no, about 3 to 10 monosaccharide units, you can form what's called the oligosaccharide. No? In some textbook, this can actually extend to 20. Okay, I've seen some textbook na up to 20 daw is considered oligosaccharide. Okay, but if you combine many of them, no, more than 20 of them, no, you have what's called the polysaccharide. No. So, depending on how you connect them, no, it will have several implications on the physical characteristic of your carbohydrate. No? Mapapansin nyo, there are plants na yung dagta nila malagkit. No? It has something to do with the way the carbohydrates are bonded. No? Okay? So, madidiscuss natin yon in the future. Okay? Dun din natin malalaman why we cannot eat kahoy. Okay? Kasi kung pwede natin kainin yung kahoy, edi sana wala nang world hunger, di ba? Kasi pwede na natin siya kainin without even planting trees. No? Okay. Putol ka na ng kahoy, kagatin mo, okay na yun. However, di tayo nilikha ni Lord na ganun na. So, yan. More of that in the future topic. Okay, so yun yung carbohydrate. No? We can classify them based on ilan silang magkakasama. Okay, monosaccharide refers to one unit only. Disaccharide, 2 units combined. And oligosaccharide, 3 to 10 or sometimes 20 saccharide units. And then poly, ibig sabihin super dami na nila. Okay, yung ating carbohydrates, we can also call them the polyhydroxyaldehyde or polyhydroxyketone. Okay, poly, ibig sabihin marami. Okay, hydroxy, ibig sabihin maraming OH na. Then, dito sila magkakaiba. We have the aldehyde and then we have the ketone. Aldehyde, this is an organic functional group wherein you have your C double bond OH. Naaalala pa sa org chem yan? Dapat naaalala, especially mga students ko before. That's the aldehyde. No? So that means for carbohydrates, no, it could have this aldehyde group or sometimes it could have a ketone group. No? Ito yung itsura ng ketone. Okay? So, ganyan. So, we call carbohydrates or saccharides as polyhydroxyaldehyde or minsan polyhydroxyketones. Okay? So, again. Ayun lang. Let's proceed with monosaccharide. No? Mono, ibig sabihin, we are talking about one unit of saccharide. Sugar. Okay, I think this is a Greek word. I'm not. I think lang. Okay, one unit of sugar, monosaccharide. Okay, and this is a general formula of CN H2N ON. Parang yung kanina lang din, CH2O N. Ginawa lang dito, dinistribute lang yung N. Okay, so yan. And for monosaccharide, one of the carbons being the carbonyl group of either aldehyde or ketone. Mamaya pakita ko kung ano yung meaning niyan. Okay. And then for monosaccharide, what we know is that its suffix O's indicate that it is a carbohydrate na. Okay. So kapag yung isang word daw, meron siyang O sa dulo, siya ay considered a sugar. Siya ay considered na carbohydrate na. Pwede siyang maging monosaccharide, no? Bigay tayo ng ibang names, no? Ng mga names ending with the O's, no? We have the glucose, we have the fucose, no? The fructose, the galactose, no? Galactose. And lahat sila may O's because they are, oops, nawala. Ayan, so lahat sila may O's dahil they are considered sugars. Okay? So lahat ng sugar may O's sa dulo. Okay? So, ayan. Ito yung sinasabi natin kanina. So, di ba, sabi natin that sugars may exist as polyhydroxyaldehyde. Pwede rin naman silang maging polyhydroxyketone. Ano difference? Yung functional group, no? For polyhydroxyaldehydes, you have this aldehyde group at the first carbon. Okay? For polyhydroxyaldehyde, you have an aldehyde group in the first carbon. Important yan ha. Huwag niyo makakalimutan. Saan uli makikita yung aldehyde group? In the first carbon. Okay? So, yun yung mga aldoses na tinatawag natin. Okay? We have the aldoses, no? Wherein it has an aldehyde group at the first carbon. Right? So this is the first carbon. Then, ano naman pinagkaiba niya with the polyhydroxyketones, no? Polyhydroxyketones have this ketone group, no? Remember, ketones are characterized by this format, no? You have the carbonyl carbon, and sa sides niya, no, sa other two bonds, puro carbon groups nakadugtong sa kanya. So that is a ketone. Ito yun. Okay. So this is the ketone that we are pertaining to polyhydroxyketones or basically ketoses. Okay. Saan makikita yung ketone? Sa second carbon. Okay. So, ayun ha, paki-emphasize na. I mean, paki-highlight na yan sa notes nyo. Kasi pag may inulit-ulit akong salita, ibig sabihin important yan. Okay? So again, to summarize, our monosaccharides, no, exist as polyhydroxyaldehyde and polyhydroxyketone. Okay? Yung pangalan na polyhydroxyaldehyde, since super haba, we will just simply call it aldoses. Al meaning aldehyde. Okay? Saan makikita yung aldehyde? In the first carbon. Okay? This is the first carbon. Then, yung isang type ng sugar natin, which is the polyhydroxyketone, ang isang term for that is ketoses. That means it has ketones. Okay? Ketones. And where will we find the ketone? In the second carbon of the chain. Okay? So, yan. So, ayun lang. For now, ang majority ng sugars natin, no, in real life is the aldoses. Okay? Ito yung majority of our sugar. No? So, that's including dyan yung glucose, no? The ribose, no? Which are found in the DNA. Maltose, galactose, iodose, ayun, so lahat ng mga yon, they are primarily aldoses. Okay, so most of the sugars are aldoses, and there are just few of the ketoses. Okay, so yan. So depending on the number of carbon in your aldoses or ketoses, you can call it tri, tetra, penta ketoses or aldoses. Okay, so and depending on the number of carbon, you can tell, you can say whether siya ay tri, tetra, penta, O's. Okay. So for example, of glucose, this is ilang carbon? Isa, dalawa, tatlo, apat, lima, anim. So ito ay may anim na carbon. So we can call it hexose. Okay. Hex meaning anim, Os meaning sugar. It follows the equation CH2O close parenthesis N. Okay, so that's why the formula of glucose is C6H12O6. Hex, ibig sabihin 6 itong subscript. So distribute mo yun sa loob. 6 times 1, 6. 2 times 6, 12. 1 times 6, edi 6 na. So yan. So kaya ganyan yung formula ng glucose because it is hexose. Okay? So, yan. Pag may question, don't hesitate to raise your concerns, ha. If you want me to clarify again something, just let me know. Or if may something na hindi clear, just let me know. So, ako binabagalan ko yung speaking ko para I know you are writing notes, no? So, to give you more time to write your notes. Okay? So, yan, I will proceed, no? So, again, most of the sugars are aldoses, no? And in this slide, we can see the several types of aldoses, okay? So, these are all aldoses, okay? Paano natin siya nasabing aldoses, no? The first carbon here is written as CHO, okay? Ang CHO kasi, pag sinulat yan, we represent that in OrgChem as this. CHO, the CHO. Ayan, so mapapansin mo, see, ayan, may CHO siya dyan, may CHO doon sa first carbon. So basically, lahat sila may CHO, okay? So yun yung aldoses, okay? So mapapansin mo, super daming aldoses, no? Okay? So we begin first with the simplest sugar, the simplest aldose, which is a triose. 3 yung limit, no? So 3 yung lowest number of carbon required for sugar, no? So for triose, we have the D-glyceraldehyde, no? Or glyceraldehyde. Okay? Then, napansin mo, ito yung CHO, then ito yung another alcohol group, and then ito yung alcohol group uli sa baba. Okay. Do you need to memorize this structure? Not really, not really. Okay. Then, ano mangyayari? We can extend this trioses, no? Pwede tayong magdagdag ng isa pang carbon group, no? In order to make it tetrose. Okay? Okay. O paano ginagawa yon? Sa laboratory na i-discuss yan, no? So may mga chemical reactions in which we can create more complex monosaccharides. No? Pwede natin siya dagdagan ng carbons. No? Okay. So sa lab, i-discuss kung paano yun. Okay, so yan. We can add more carbon groups to expand our triose. No? Para siya ay maging tetroses. No? Okay, tetrose. Ibig sabihin, 4 na carbon yung sugar natin. Okay? So, yan. So, for example, ito, pag dadagdagan natin ng carbon na yan, so, dito siya mapupunta next to the aldehyde group. Okay? Then, anything here sa baba will remain the same. Okay? So, anything dito sa baba will remain the same. Okay? So, yung ating additional carbon, dito siya dudugtong after the CHO, after the aldehyde, no? And then, ayun, anything below here, ayan, anything na ito, they will remain the same. Okay? So, mapapansin mo, depending on the position of your OH, no, pwede siyang to the left, pwede siyang to the right, dalawang products yung mabubuo mo, no? If your OH is positioned to the right, we call that tetrose, the erythrose, okay? Pag itong OH na dinagdag mo, napunta siya sa right side, we call that the erythrose. If yung OH na dinagdag mo, napunta siya sa left side ng molecule, we call it the threose. Okay? Again, do you have to memorize this? For now, hindi naman. Okay? Kasi even ako, hindi ko kabisado to lahat, no? Kasi sayang brain cell ko kung kakabisaduhin ko yan lahat. Okay? Basta ang point lang, whenever you add carbon, no, to make your sugar more complex, the OH substituent could go to the left or to the right. Okay? To the left or to the right siya. So as a result, you will have 2 different products. No? One is called the erythrose, the other one is called the threose. Okay? So, and again, you can extend this, no? Pwede mo siya uli dagdagan ng carbon through several chemical reactions to make the tetroses pentoses, no? 5 carbon. Okay? So, if you add another carbon to your tetrose, magiging pentose siya. If that is erythrose, ang pwede mo ma-produce ay ribose and arabinose na. Okay? So again, take a look at this. Ito, ma-remain the same yan, no? So ito, ma-remain the same. The OH is on the right, OH on the right na. Right, right. Same as this one. Magre-remain the same siya when you add the carbon. Okay? However, the only difference is itong carbon next to the CHO. No? The CHO. Okay? So the OH can go to the right. Pwede rin naman siya mapunta sa left. If ang lahat ng OH nasa right for a pentose, you call it the ribose. This is the sugar that is present in your DNA and RNA. Okay? The ribose sugar. If yung ating dinagdag na carbon, yung OH niya napunta sa left, we call it the arabinose. Okay? So nakikita niyo yung pattern. Yung nasa lower portion, always nare-retain siya. Ang nagbabago lang ay yung OH after the CHO. No? Ito yung sinasabi kong CHO. So, pwede yung OH mapunta sa right, pwede mapunta sa left. No? Okay? So, yan. So, pag sa right, iba yung pangalan niya. Pag sa left, iba din yung pangalan niya. Okay? So, yan. Hopefully, pag tayo ma-confuse. Pero if you have concerns, just let me know. Okay, so that's for the pentoses derived from erythrose. No? For the threose, no, we can add another carbon to make it 5 O's, no? Pentose. No? Okay, so papansin mo again, at etong mga nasa baba na to, they will be copied. No? Ayan, makokopya lang sila. Ano yung magbabago? The OH, no, or the carbon group after the CHO. Ito lang yung magbabago. Okay? Pwedeng nasa right, pwedeng nasa left. Okay? So for threose, we can have xylose if the OH is on the right. And we have this thing. Teka lang. Masyado na malabo mata ko. Hindi ko na mabasa. And then we have the lysose now. If the OH is on the left. Wait lang, lobat. Okay, so ganun lang. So ano mapapansin nyo, whenever you add carbon, you always produce two products, no? So that means yung ating mga aldoses, no, ang daming options, no, na pwede mo pagdugtong-dugtungin, resulting in different molecules. Okay? So just like what we did to tetroses, we can extend the pentoses again, no, to make it the hexose, no. So yung hexose, ito yung pinaka-common sa ating lahat, no. Especially one of the molecules here, this one, the glucose, no. So anyway, punta tayo. Sa ribose, you just copy everything down here. We just copy everything down here. Okay? And then yung OH, pwede siyang mag-left-right, no? Ito dito sa idadagdag mong carbon, pwedeng OH na sa right, pwede na sa left, no? So if all the OHs are on the right, we call it the allose, no? Allose, all right, no? All right. All right yung ating OH, no? Allose, yun yung shortcut namin. The allose, all right. Lahat ng OH. Ulit-ulit, no? Anyway, ito. If your OH suddenly change position, nasa left na siya, we call it the altrose, no? Wala na kami mnemonic for that. Altrose. Okay, so that's for the hexoses derived from ribose. Let's go with the arabinose. You just copy everything below. And then, ayan, kopyahin mo lang. Just like yung pinapakita ko sa box. Okay. Medyo mabagal ako mag-box kasi naka-squint ang aking mata. I cannot really see the second screen. Ayan. And then, ayan. So, ito yung additional carbon natin. So, again, the OH can go to the right, to the left. Okay? For glucose, yung OH na yon nasa right. Okay? Then, everything is copied from the arabinose. For mannose, yung OH na yon nasa left. Okay? And everything else is copied from the arabinose. Okay? So it should be important that you know the structure of glucose na. Kasi ito yung marami sa ating body. Okay? So you should memorize that one. Ayan, kailangan talaga yan. Okay? So ang pang-memorize ko ng glucose is right, left, right, right. No? Para siyang dance step. Right OH, left OH, right, right OH. Ayan. Okay? Anyway, let's proceed with the xylose. No? If you add another carbon to xylose, it will become hexose and you will have two products. Just copy everything below. Okay? Just copy everything below. Ayan. And then yung additional carbon mo, it could go to the right, pwede rin to the left. Okay? So if that's to the right, we call it the glucose. And if it is on the left, you call it the iodose. Okay? And lastly, yung ating lysose, no? If you extend it another carbon, no? Just copy everything below the aldehyde group. Okay? So ito na yan. Oops. Hindi ko na makita. Yan. Just copy everything below the CHO, then saka ka mag-add ng carbon. Pag to the right, ito yan. If to the right, we call it the galactose. And if to the left, yan ay talose. Okay? So again, the most important aldose we have here is the glucose. No? So that means you should really remember the structure of glucose. No? Ang shortcut dyan ay right, left, right, right. I am pertaining to the OH. No? So yan. So right, left, right, right. Okay. Again, do you have to memorize all this? No, hindi lahat. No. Okay. You just have to memorize specific molecules such as glucose. Okay. So yan. So ayan lang. So those are the monosaccharides. Okay. Before we proceed with the other portions of the monosaccharide topic, no, let's have a review of org-chem muna. I know this was not discussed during your inorg chem, no? Kasi bagyo, no? Dapat kasama to, no, sa ituturo. Pero remember, binagyo tayo nun. So hindi namin naturo sa inyo. Okay? So that's why ituturo uli namin ngayon. Okay? So let's have a review about chirality, no? Okay? Or the handedness of molecule. Okay? Kasi it has something to do with this one, no? Ito, may chirality dito. Okay? So let's have a review, no, of chirality. Okay, so I think this is a very new idea for you, for some of you. However, madali lang to. Okay? So we call chirality also the handedness of the molecule because basically we can use our hands to represent chirality. Okay? So ano yung ganap ng chirality? Ganito. It just tells us that when you have mirror images, no, and they are superimposable, no, ano meaning nun? Sila ay nawala yung train of thought ko. Wait lang, nawala ako. Alam niyo yung minsan nagkaano ka, yung nagzo-zone out ka. Kaso malala dito ako teacher. Ako yung nagzo-zone out. Anyway, so I forget what I'm going to say na. Wait lang, balik ako. Okay, so again, chirality ang ating pag-uusapan and this has something to do with the handedness of the molecule. No? So, we can represent chirality using our hands. No? Suppose you show your hands, no, in the mirror. Okay, for example, this is my left hand. No? Tapos may mirror dito in between me. Okay, may mirror dito in between me. It will look like my right hand. No? So that means they are mirror images. Okay? So kung ano itsura ng aking left hand, it is mirrored in my right hand, no? So andito yung thumb, second finger, the middle finger, the ring finger, and the pinky finger. Okay? So yan, naka-mirror siya. However, pagpatungin natin sila, okay? Yun yung meaning ng impossible. Can we lay them on top of another and will they look the same? Okay. For example, ito na. They are mirror image, di ba? Pero pagpatungin ko sila, did they superimpose? Ibig sabihin ba nun, pag pinagpatong ko sila, iisa yung itsura nila? Obviously, hindi. Kasi yung aking thumb ng left, ito, yung gumagalaw. Yung thumb ng aking right, ito, yung gumagalaw. Okay? So that means they are mirror image. However, they are non-superimposable. Ibig sabihin, pag pinagpatong mo sila, they will not look the same, no? Okay? Mirror sila, pag pinagpatong, hindi, no? Okay? So, yun yung meaning ng non-superimposable image na sinasabi dito. Pag meron namang superimposable image, no? For example, wait lang, kuha ako. This is sleeping pill. Pampatulog ko to eh. Let me close the sharing muna para mas makita yung pagmumukha ko. Ayan, bulaga. Okay. So for example, yung kamay ko nga kanina. Okay. So this left hand, this is the right hand. They are mirror image. Ibig sabihin, they reflect one another with respect to this plane in the middle of the screen. Pero kapag pinagpatong ko sila, they cannot be superimposed, no? Kasi yung positions ng aking fingers, hindi sila nag-overlap. Especially the thumb finger and the pinky finger, no? Hindi sila pantay. So yun yung non-superimposable image. Ngayon, let's talk about the superimposable mirror image naman. For example, this is yung banig ng slip asil. Okay, so alam niyo to kasi nag-trending sila last time sa Facebook. So ito, isang banig ng slip asil and isang banig ng slip asil na. So they are mirror images. Okay? Kasi kung ano itsura nito, it is reflected here. But they are also superimposable. Kasi pag pinapatong ko sila, yung position ng mga pills na to, mga pampatulog na to, the same lang din siya as this one. Okay? So, superimposable image sila. No? Pero yung kamay ko, they are non-superimposable. Okay? Ano naman meron ngayon kung superimposable sila or not superimposable? Yung molecule, ganun din kasi. Okay? Especially in sugars. No? In sugars, we have superimposable sugars. And then, meron din naman na non-superimposable sugars. No? Let me share again the screen. And I hope medyo naging clear yung visual ko kasi ginamitan ko na ng kamay pati ng gamot. Okay. But if you want to clarify things, just let me know kasi important itong dinidiscuss natin right now. Okay. So ayan, going back to our PowerPoint. Ayan. So superimposable, pag pinagpatong, same lang. Non-superimposable, pag pinagpatong, magkaiba ng positions. Okay? So, yung molecule kasi, ganun din. There are molecules that are mirror images but are superimposable. And there are molecules that are there are molecules that are mirror images but are not superimposable. Okay? Pag sinabi natin chiral molecule, pag sinabing chiral molecule, we are actually pertaining to, let me write. Okay. Pag sinabi nating chiral molecule, we are pertaining to molecules that are mirror images. Okay, mirror images dapat sila. And they are also non-superimposable. Okay, non-superimposable. Isang word yan. Hindi mo sila mapagpapatong. Kaya nga sinabi natin, chirality, the handedness of the molecule. Mirror, pero hindi mo mapagpatong. Yun yung chirality. Okay? So for example, I have this molecule here. No? This is a carbon, hydrogen, iodine, bromine, chlorine. You can take its mirror image, itapat mo siya sa mirror. Pero, pag pinagpatong mo na sila, you can see that this atom here will not correspond to this atom here. No? Okay? So yes, mirror image sila, pero pag pinagpatong mo yung dalawang molecule, they are not superimposable. Okay? Now, let me get my molecular models, no, para mas makita niyo. Ito lang naman, ang goal ko kasi for this session is makover lang to. So we still have plenty of time. Wait lang ha. Wait lang guys. Ala, di ko makita. Saan siya na? Saan ko kaya nilagay yun? Naka-ready na yung kanina eh. Diba? Sobrang makakalimutan ko na. Anyway, let me represent it in another way na lang. Okay? So for example, ito. Mag-whiteboard na lang ako. Tumayo lang ako, napagod na ako. Okay. Anyway, so suppose this is the mirror. Okay. Ayan, this is the mirror. Okay. Kunwari, ito, atom A. And then, circle na lang. So, let's say yan yung atom A. On the front, you have the atom blue, the atom green, and then you have the you have this empty circle there, na green. Then on the top, you have the empty blue circle. Okay. Each of those circles represent different atoms. Huh? Okay. Yung isa shaded, yung isa hindi shaded because I have limited colors dito sa app. Okay. Oopsie, ano ba yun? Pero hopefully mas ma-visualize nyo, no? Ano kaya itsura ng mirror image niya, no? Okay. So basically, you just reflect it 180 degrees. So ikakopy ko yung itsura niyan. Okay. So yung green andito. I'm just doing its mirror image. Yung blue naka-point palabas din. Okay. Yung blue na circle nasa taas. And then yung green na circle naka-point backwards. So yan. So they are mirror, di ba? Okay. So ayan, nakikita natin yung pagiging reflected ng mga atoms, no? Pero try natin siya pagpatungin. Okay. Try natin siya pagpatungin. Okay, so itong molecule, if i-flip ko, pabaliktad, no? Flip ko siya by 180 degrees. So how will it look like? No? So yung itong blue circle nasa taas pa rin. Oops. Natabi nga. Yan. Nasa taas pa rin yung blue circle. Ito, since if i-flip ko to 180 degrees, it will be placed here sa likod. O itong green, nandun siya sa likod banda. Pag flip ko 180 degrees yan, papunta yan dito sa harap, di ba? Can you see it? Pag hindi, let me know. O ito, nasa harap to. It is somehow pointing at me. Flip mo yan 180 degrees, mapupunta yan dun sa likod. Okay? So now, i-erase ko na to. Based on the structure of of these two molecules here, are they superimposable? Pag pinagpatong ko ba sila, same yung position ng atoms? Definitely, hindi, di ba? Bakit? Yes, itong blue circle, magkakapatong yan. Itong green circles, magkakapatong yan. However, at dito nag-start yung anomaly. Sa green one, pati ditong sa blue sa likod. Okay? They will not be superimposable. So if that is the case, they are mirror images but cannot be superimposed to one another. That is considered chiral molecule. Okay? That is considered a chiral molecule. Mirror images but are not superimposable. Okay? Ano, kaya pa ba? Nag-drawing lang ako. Basically, yun pinakita ko kanina sa whiteboard. Ito lang yun. Okay. So, ayan. Flinip ko 180 degrees. Ito, flinip ko 180 degrees. Ito yon. Tapos, pag pinagpatong mo yan, they will not match, no? Okay. So, ayan. They never match, no? Ito, hindi sila magka-match. Ayun, hindi sila magka-match. Therefore, they are chiral molecules, no? So just ito another example. So this is a sugar. That's glyceraldehyde. The triose, no? The simplest sugar. So depending on the position of your carbons, no? Pag kinuha mo mirror image niyan, then saka pinagpatong mo sila, some of the connections will not superimpose to the other molecule. No? Hindi siya magma-match with the other molecule. Hence, it is a chiral molecule. Okay? Ayan. So again, when we say chiral molecules, we are pertaining to molecules that are not superimposable pero may mirror image na. Okay. When we say achiral, no, yung a meaning the counterpart, no, we know that in English, no, yung a is prefix for the counterpart, no. Achiral, yun yung kabaliktaran ng chiral. So yes, may mirror image siya. However, it is superimposable. Okay? So take note of the difference, no? Pag chiral, none. Pag achiral, superimposable. Okay? So ibig sabihin kapag achiral, superimposable. Okay? So yun yung terms natin, ha? Kaya always remember yung hands, no? Kaya nga sinabi ang chirality ay the handedness, no? Because our hands are chiral, no? They are mirror image, but when you superimpose them, hindi sila magma-match. Okay? Hindi magma-match yung position ng fingers. Okay? So, yun yung chiral versus achiral. Okay? So, how can you predict whether a given molecule is chiral or not, no? So, basically, gaya ng ginagawa natin, you do a mirror check, no? If they are mirror image, pagpatungin mo sila. Okay? Pagpatungin mo sila. If they will match, then yun ay achiral. Pero pag hindi sila nag-match, pag pinagpatong mo, yun ay chiral. Okay? So that's what we do it. Also, it is important for us to see if there is a plane of symmetry. If there's a plane of symmetry, when you cut the molecule, okay, yung isang molecule, hahatiin mo lang siya sa gitna. If there's a plane of symmetry there, it is already a chiral na. Okay? Okay. Pag may plane of symmetry, yun ay a chiral na. This is one example here. So this is an Erlenmeyer flask. No? Okay. Makita mo, if you cut the Erlenmeyer flask in the middle, the appearance of the left side will be the same as the right side. No? If there is a plane of symmetry, this will automatically be a chiral. Okay? No need to test the mirrorness. No need to do the mirror test na. Pag hinati mo yung isang molecule, pansin mo, yung left side same sa right side, achiral automatically yan. Okay? So, ganun. Pero tignan mo yung kamay. No? Yung kamay mo, pag hinati mo sa gitna, masakit na. Pero anyway, pag hinati mo sa gitna, hindi masakit yan, of course. Pero mapapansin mo, yung left side ng arm, ng ating kamay, it's not the same as the right side, no? So that will give you a hint that the molecule or the hand is chiral, no? Okay? May hint ka na makikita, no? Pag tinignan mo yung kamay mo, hatiin mo sa gitna, yung left hindi the same as the right. So ibig sabihin, that could be chiral, okay? For example, so this will be chiral, okay? Cut it in the middle if they are matched, no? Sabihin, achiral siya. If they don't match, then that's chiral. Okay? Ito, chiral or achiral. If you have a brand knee sniffer, kaya yung ginaganon-ganon ng mga mayayaman sa movies, no? That is achiral. Okay? So that is achiral. Bakit siya achiral? So as you can see, if you cut the molecule in the middle, anything on the left is the same as anything on the right. No? So that is achiral. Okay? Baseball glove. No, actually, achiral dapat to. Oops. Ay, hindi. Chiral yan. Tama. Yung kabila pala yung achiral. Okay, so baseball glove, this is chiral. Kasi if you cut this in the middle, patiin natin. Yung appearance ng left, walang ganun sa right. No? Mo, may ganito siya sa left. And may ganyan siya, pero sa right, wala. No? So that will fall under the chiral category na. Both propeller, this should be achiral. Okay, and that should be achiral. Why? Kasi if you cut it here, this is chiral, sorry. Bakit? Kasi kapag kinat mo siya dito, yung appearance nito, that will not be the same as this one. No? Kasi itong nasa left, hindi siya bulky. Itong nasa right, bulky. Okay. The two will remain the same, pero itong left side na to, hindi siya same itsura as the right. So yeah, that's chiral. Sorry for that. Okay. So the boat propeller or even your hélice sa bahay, that's chiral. Hindi kasi pantay itong side. Although same ito, pati ayun, pero itong side na to, hindi. So, they are different. Okay. In terms of molecule, ito, we have the cis-1,3-dimethylcyclopentane. Okay. So cis, ibig sabihin, the substituents are on the same side. No? So I have the cyclopentane. Let me draw it in 2 dimension. Okay. Cis 1,3. No? So, ibig sabihin, kapag naka-up yung isa, kailangan yung isa naka-up din. Okay. So, as you can see, if you cut the molecule in the middle, you have the plane of symmetry. This side is pointing upwards. That side is also pointing outwards. So, that means it is achiral indeed. No? So, yun yung ginawa ko. Pointing up to, ito naka-up din. So, as symbolized by this side, those side chains. Okay. So, pare sila naka-up. So, if you cut them in the middle, magkaparehas lang sila. Okay. So, that means if parehas both sides, may symmetry, achiral yan. And then, kapag trans naman, okay, so let me draw it in 2D. Okay, kapag trans yung isa upward, yung isa downward, okay. If I cut this molecule in the middle, this side is obviously very different with this one. Kasi ito naka-up, ito naka-down. So, hindi siya symmetrical. So, that means it is chiral. Hatiin mo sa gitna yan. Okay, hatiin mo sa gitna. So, ito yung magiging itsura nun. If you cut this in the middle, obviously, yung isa pointing downwards, yung isa pointing upwards. So, they are not mirror image. No? Kahit saan mo hatiin yan, no? Hindi talaga yan mirror image. So, yan. So, that's how we assign chiral molecules. No? Number 1, if they have mirror image, no? And they are non-superimposable, pero the easier way to assign if they are chiral or not chiral is to look if the molecule is symmetrical. Okay? So, tapos na tayo with the basic examples. Now, let us try to apply this in actual molecules. No? So, yan. In molecules, no, it will be easier to say if a carbon is chiral, no? If the atom is chiral, no? Or if the molecule is chiral, if there is an asymmetric center. Okay? Yun yung sinasabi, yun yung point dito, no? Pag may asymmetric center, ibig sabihin, chiral yun. Okay? Ano meaning ng asymmetric? Hindi pantay. Okay? Katulad ng kamay ko, this is the asymmetric center. Kasi dito nagkakaiba yung left and right side niya. Okay? So in molecules, ganun din. once you see that once you see that the molecule has an asymmetric center, then you can consider it chiral. Okay? Let's take a look at this few examples here. Ano ba meaning kapag asymmetric? Hindi pantay-pantay yung groups connected to the atom. No? An asymmetric center is an atom that is bonded to 4 different groups. No? Okay? So for example, this molecule that I will draw here, okay? Hydrogen, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Is this molecule chiral? No? Ang sagot natin dyan ay yes, it is chiral because the carbon is asymmetric. And asim. Hindi ko na itutuloy. Ano siya? Asymmetric siya. Ibig sabihin nun, the atoms connected to this carbon is not the same. Iodine is not the same as chlorine. Also, it's not the same as bromine, and also it is not the same as hydrogen. So all the groups that is connected to the carbon is different. No? So ibig sabihin, yes, it is a chiral molecule. Chiral molecule siya. Okay, so yun. Kasi asymmetric yung groups connected to it. Let's take a look at some examples here. No? Let's take a look at some examples here. Let me zoom. Paano ko ba i-zoom to? To my students before, no, dati gumagamit ako ng iPad. Ngayon I changed to tablet, no, graphics tablet. Kasi mabilis na malobat yung iPad. Nasira na ata. Anyway, so let's take a look at this molecule here, the octanol. Okay? So this is the carbon of interest kasi dito nagkakaroon ng iba't ibang connection yung atom, no? Meaning this is the achiral carbon. Paano kaya yan naging achiral carbon? Okay, ganito. Tignan mo yung left. Ilang carbon na kadugtong sa kanya? 1, 2, 3. So this is propyl group. No? Propyl yan. Kasi 3 carbons. On the right, ilan? 1, 2, 3, 4. Apat. No? So this is butyl. No? So this is propyl. Ito ay butyl, apat. So magkaiba yon. Sa baba, may OH, which is very different with the propyl and the butyl. And sa taas niya, itong hydrogen dapat nasa taas yan. Okay. So itong H, nandito yan sa taas dapat. So as you can see, around this carbon here, there are 4 different groups attached to it. You have the 3 carbon group, the 4 carbon group, the OH below, and the hydrogen above. No? That makes this molecule a chiral molecule. No? Okay, that makes the molecule chiral molecule. Okay. Baka malito kayo pag sinabi kong A chiral, pati A chiral. Anyway, hindi ko na lalagyan ng A yung chiral ko. So this makes it chiral. Another example will be this one. 2-bromobutane is one of the chiral molecules. Bakit? Tignan mo yung left, isang carbon. Sa right, 2 carbon. Baba, bromine. Yung taas, itong hydrogen dapat nasa taas. Okay? So, 4 different groups of atoms ang magkakasama. This 1 carbon group, the 2 carbon group, the bromine below, and the hydrogen above. Okay? So, pag magkakaiba yon, chiral yan. Let's take a look at this one. Okay. So 2,4-dimethylhexane. 2,4-dimethylhexane. On the left side, for example, this is the carbon of interest. No? Mapapansin mo, itong left, this is different with this one on the right. No? Obvious naman eh. Di ba? So ito may nakalusot dun sa taas, ito wala. Okay. So magkaibang group tong nasa left, iba yung nasa right, iba yung nasa baba. And obviously, yung hydrogen nasa taas, iba yun. Okay? So you have 4 different groups attached to your carbon, making it chiral. Ano pa kaya yung carbon dito that will make this molecule chiral? Okay? Kasi dalawa yung asymmetric center niya. Okay? Asymmetric carbon. Ano pa kaya yung isa pang carbon na chiral dito? Anyone? Nakikita nyo ba? Kung nakita nyo, you can raise your hand then tell me. Ito ba yon? Ito ba yun? Ito ba yun? Ito ba yun? Ito ba yun? Sige, let's have Diana Rose. Asan kaya yung isa pang chiral carbon?
Second
Ano pa?
yung second carbon
Second carbon from the left, right?
from the left. Yung may CH3 kata.
Ayun. Yes, that's correct. No? Nakita nyo yung chiral. So this carbon here, the second carbon on the left, is also chiral carbon. Magkakaiba kasi nakadugtong sa kanya. Ay, teka lang, magkakaiba ba? Hindi pala. Sorry. Hindi pala siya magkakaiba. Sorry for that. Akala ko rin chiral. Hindi pala siya magkakaiba, sorry. Bakit? Kasi this CH3 is the same as the CH3 upstairs. Ito na sa taas. Okay. Oo nga, no? So, yan. Magkaiba sila. Okay. So, kasi, I mean, same lang. Kasi itong CH3 na to, same din doon. Pero dugtungan na lang natin, no? Dugtungan natin. Maski ako na ano din na duling. I was thinking of another example kasi. Ayan. Suppose gawin natin ganyan yan. Okay. Ayan. So, CH2, CH3. Yeah, magkaiba yan, no? Kasi itong nasa left, iba yung nasa taas, iba yung nasa right, then iba itong hydrogen na nasa. Okay. At least medyo may may idea na tayo. Okay. Sorry for that, no. I forgot na CH3 nga pala 'yan. ang nasa isip ko kanina pa CH2, CH3 na. Okay. I was thinking of another example kasi. Okay. Ayan, so yan. So kuha tayong examples pa. I will create drawings, then you tell me asan yung chiral carbon. Oh, it's already 4. 4 na pala. Okay. So tell me, where is the chiral carbon here? O, pwedeng marami yung chiral carbon. Okay. Ayan. Pwedeng marami chiral carbon, pwedeng isa lang. O you tell me, from left to right na numbering, anong carbon number yung chiral carbon? You could raise your hands na. From this molecule here, pangalanan ko siya. 1, 2, 3. 3, 5 diiodo. LMNOPQRS. Tama, iodo muna. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. This is a molecule whose name is 3,5-diiodo, 3,5-dimethyl octane. Anong carbon numbers yung chiral? Dalawa yung chiral carbon dito. Sure na to. Dalawa yan. Ano kaya? Anong carbon number? Starting from the left to the right na. Kurt Harvey. Sige, Kurt. Mike.
They're from left to right.
Hindi ko marinig masyado.
Kung from left to right po yung numbering, yung number 4 po. Fourth carbon po.
Etong fourth. This is the fourth
Yes.
carbon. So, sabi ni Mark, ito daw ay chiral. Okay. Any idea from the others? Okay, so sabi ni Harvey, ito daw. This could be chiral. Okay. How about the others? Diana. Nilalapit ko ulo kasi hindi ko masyado marinig. Diana.
Third and fifth carbon.
Yung alin ulit?
Third and fifth po.
Third and fifth, no? Sabi ni Diana, ito naman daw. I will highlight this as green. How about the others? O yung iba, baka mamaya nakatulog na kayo. By the way, medyo mabagal talaga ako mag-discuss ha. Kasi I really want to emphasize on some things. Okay? Okay, so wala nang magdadagdag. Okay, so the correct answer is the green one. Okay, so the green, yung naka-green asterisk, yun yung chiral, no? Okay, so yun. Let's try to explain bakit sila naging chiral, no? Kasi, ganito. This carbon here, ito, highlight ko as green, it is connected to different groups, no? Let me highlight those groups. The ethyl group, the methyl group, the iodo group, and the rest of the molecule. So, apat na magkakaibang groups yan. The ethyl, the methyl, the iodo, and all those bunch of atoms on the right. 4 different groups yan. So, that makes that carbon chiral. Okay? Oh, how about the fifth carbon? Okay? Ito lang mahirap eh. Ko-control Z ko na lang. Ayun. Ayan. So that makes this carbon chiral kasi all the 4 groups connected to it, magkakaiba sila. The ethyl, the methyl, this bunch of atoms here, and the iodine. How about this one? Ito, magkakaiba din yan, no? Because you have here the propyl, the methyl, the iodine, and all this other stuff on the left, no? So 4 different groups then, no? You have the propyl on the rightmost, the methyl below, the iodine also below, and then on the right you have all those bunch of atoms, no? So yun yung 2 chiral centers natin. Okay? Why is this atom here not chiral? Okay? Explain din natin, of course, no? Bakit hindi siya chiral? Kasi remember, 'di ba? When we draw Lewis structures, we can represent this as CH2, CH3, CH2, CH3. So, ibig sabihin, pag may ganyan, may dalawang hydrogen doon, no? Ibig sabihin, ito, may dalawang hydrogen. Hydrogen yun, hydrogen yan. Okay? So, yes, magkakaiba sila dito. Ayan, iba yan. Iba yun dito. Pero when it comes to these 2 atoms attached to this carbon, yung hydrogens doon, same kasi. Okay? Same hydrogen kasi yan. So that's why we cannot consider this chiral, no? Okay? So keep in mind the way we draw Lewis structures, no? Okay? Hindi natin pinapakita yung hydrogens, no? But we should know that in here, may dalawang hydrogen dyan. Dito, may tatlong hydrogen. Okay? So anyway, we still have a good start naman, no? Okay? So I hope that you will recognize more molecules, no? In the future, if they are chiral or not. Okay? Let's talk about 2-butanol. I can represent this as, I will represent it as this one. Okay, so 2-butanol is chiral molecule. No? Bakit? You have this ethyl group here, you have the methyl group here, you have the hydroxyl group here, and yung hindi pinakita na hydrogen. May hydrogen doon. So all those 4 groups are different. Okay, so the ethyl, the methyl on the right, the hydroxyl, and the hydrogen, which is not shown. Okay, kasi nasa hindi talaga pinapakita yung hydrogen, di ba? So ibig sabihin, this molecule is indeed chiral. Okay, and you can show its mirror image, no? Just copy mo lang yan. I-copy mo lang siya, and then ayan, makuha mo na yung mirror image niya. Okay. So, ayan. And this is the asymmetric center. Okay? Ayan. So, that is the asymmetric center. 2-bromopropane. This is not chiral. Bakit kaya? Let me draw the propane. Sinasanay ko kayo sa Lewis structure kasi Dapat sanay na tayo. Okay. I mean this sa line angle structure, itong zigzag. 2-bromopropane is achiral. Okay? Bakit? Kasi you have the methyl group here, you have a methyl group there. Then 'di ba may hydrogen doon? Then you have the bromine. Okay? So itong methyl groups na to, they are equivalent, no? Yan pati ayon, same lang 'yon. Kasi ang requirement kapag chiral yan, dapat different talaga sila. Okay? So kailangan different sila. Kaso hindi same sila Okay? So ayun. Okay. So, kunwari, if two molecules are mirror images, okay, and they are non-superimposable, we call them enantiomers. No? Okay? So, kapag ang isang molecule ay may mirror image, no, ang tawag sa kanilang dalawa ay enantiomer. No? Okay? So, yan. Ano meaning ng enantiomer? Okay? They are mirror images and are not superimposable. Okay? Enantiomer sila. At the same time, chiral din sila. Okay? Enantiomers ang tawag doon. Okay? So, for example, this is 2-bromobutane. So, this is one way of drawing 2-bromobutane. So, ayan, carbon, the bromine here, the hydrogen, the methyl, and the ethyl group na. Okay. So, if you draw the mirror image, it will look like this one. Na? CH3, hydrogen, bromine, and the ethyl group na. Okay. So, they are mirror image, no? And they are non-superimposable, of course. So, that means they are enantiomer. Dalawa silang enantiomer. Okay. And also, we should keep in mind that there are molecules that have more than one asymmetric center. Okay? So, katulad ng mga examples na pinakita ko, like this one, no? Like this one. So, we have two asymmetric centers here, no? The carbons 3 and carbon 5. Okay? So, in carbohydrates, ganun din. Okay? This one is a tawag dito. This one is tetrose, no? Ano pangalan niya? Hindi ko kabisado yung mga tetrose Kasi again, sabi ko nga kanina, huwag niyo kabisaduhin. Okay. Yeah, so that's ribose pala. Ay, hindi. Pentose ang ribose. Erythrose, no? Erythrose, tetrose. So erythrose is one example. Okay, so this is erythrose. Okay, so erythrose is one example of a sugar with more than one asymmetric center. No? So these two carbons here, okay, sorry for that noise. May nagbebenta ng kakanin sa labas. If narinig nyo. Okay. Okay, so itong dalawang carbon na yan, they are considered asymmetric carbons. Okay, asymmetric center. Okay, so ayan. Bakit kaya ito naging asymmetric center? Because iba tong group na to, sa group na to, sa group na to, and sa group na to. Okay? So magkakaiba yan, no? So you can see there are 4 different groups attached to that carbon, making it an asymmetric carbon. Ibig sabihin, yan ay chiral. Okay? Chiral carbon yan. Hindi lang yan, no? Mababa tayo. Mababa tayo dito. If you focus on this carbon, you can also see that this carbon here is different with this molecule here, with this one here, triangle, and ito. Ayan. So, mapansin mo, magkakaiba sila, no? This is OH, this is something else, this is hydrogen, and this is the CH2OH. So, they are very different, no, from one another, making the carbon chiral. Okay? So that is true for all the sugars, no? So basically, the reason why we have so many sugars is because of the chirality, no? So depending on the position of the OHs, magkakaibang chiral molecules yan. Okay? So for the glyceraldehyde, which is a tetrose, triose, isa lang yung chiral carbon. Ito lang. So ito yung isang group na iba with this one, and this one. Okay? So, yan. So, yan. Ito naman. For this one, dalawa yung chiral carbon. This one and this one. For pentoses, ilan ang chiral carbon? Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Okay. For hexoses, ilan ang chiral carbon? Isa, dalawa, tatlo, apat. Okay? So, apat. Okay? So, bali, it is safe to say na ang dami ng chiral carbon for aldoses is N minus 2. No? Parang ganun. Kasi for example, triose yan, ilan yung chiral carbon? Isa lang. Okay? For tetroses, 4 minus 2. Dalawa yung chiral carbon. Okay? Nakikita nyo? Ayun, pati ayun. For pentoses, ilan yung chiral carbon? Tatlo. This one, that one, that one. 3 chiral carbons. For hexoses, 6 minus 2, edi 4. 4 chiral carbons. This one, that one, that one, that one. Okay? So again, you can confirm that by doing what we do kanina. Okay? Just look kung magkakaiba yung groups around that carbon. So if magkakaiba yung groups around that carbon, that makes it chiral. Okay? So ayun. Ayun lang. Hiningal ako. And so ayun. So that will be all na for our session today. May nag-chat pala kanina si Ray. So second carbon, second from the left and right. Yung ano kanina. Ito ba yun? Sorry, hindi ko agad nabasa yung chat. Yan. Hiningal ako. May nag-gets ba tayo? No? Okay. Siguro before ko kayo dismiss, no, let us try to test if alam natin ang mga pinagagawa natin today. So again, this will be very important, no? Kasi our receptors in the body can recognize if anong chirality ng molecule. Okay? That separates us from bacteria, no? Mga small mga basic cells sa mundo. That is the thing that separates us from them, our chirality. No? Okay, so teka lang, I'm going to make a poll. Short quiz lang. Ano ba yan? Monthly response limit is reached. Ganun. Hindi ba siya pwede i-delete? Anyway. Ito. Basic Q&A. Let me know kung ilang chiral centers meron tayo. Lewis structure gagawin ko, ha? How many chiral centers do we have? You can chat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pwede rin 0. Ay, sorry. Ito may mga question tayo. Sir, ano po pagkakaiba ng chirality sa isomers? Okay. So, good you ask, no? Kasi siguro naisip nyo, di ba? If isomers yon, they should have the same formula, but different structure, no? So that means for chirality, no, dapat isomers din sila, no? I will answer the questions muna, ha? Okay. So yes, yung chirality and isomerism, same yan. Same idea yan, no? Kasi ang chirality, ang focus niya lang is yung spatial arrangement, no? Spatial arrangement, no? Oopsie, sorry. Spatial arrangement. Okay. So yes, yung mga molecule na dinidescribe natin kanina, they are isomers, no? Especially yung ating mga sugars, isomeric sila lahat, no? Okay. So ibig sabihin, for example, itong hexoses, they all have the same formula, C6H12O6. However, the spatial position of the atoms differ. Okay. Kasi may mga chiral center sila. Okay. So yun, pag sinabing isomerism, same formula, different structure. But when we pertain to the position, we are actually referring to the chirality. Okay. So pero yung chirality under yan ng isomerism. Okay. Let me pull up a graph showing na maraming uri ng isomerism. Wait lang ha. This is one of my lectures, mga tinuro sa amin ng prof namin sa Lasal. So, share ko na rin yung idea. May graph kami nito eh. Ayan. So, ito. Diba? Ang aking notebook sa grad school ay digital. So, ayan. Pag sinabing isomerism, same molecular formula, different, pero pero non-identical. Ibig sabihin, magkakaiba yung position ng atom. So, constitutional isomers, yung magkakaiba lang ng position. We have the stereoisomer. This refers to chirality na. Ito, stereoisomerism, yung chirality. So, under ni isomerism yung chirality. No? So, yun lang. Actually, marami pa yan. Ito yung enantiomer, yung dinescribe natin kanina. And may diastereomer pa. Sa future ko na i-discuss. Okay. So, again, yung pinagkaiba lang ng chirality and isomer. Pag chirality, spatial arrangement. No? Pero chirality is a form of isomerism, no? This is a form of isomerism. Okay. Under siya sa umbrella ng isomers. Okay. Okay ba tayo, Kevin? Kelvin? Okay ba tayo dun? Or may gusto ko pa i-clarify? Let me know. Si Habol nag-question, Sir, pwede po ba ma-download yung recorded session? Yes, no? Di ba pag clinic nyo yung link, mapupunta kayo sa ang tawag doon sa OneDrive. For example, ito. Ayan. I think meron din akong YouTube video about this. Alam ko meron ako eh. And so you can click download. Ayan. So this was our previous recording. Tignan ko ha. Alam ko may video ako about this. Oops. Sa organic chem tutorial ko. Okay. Kung gusto niyo rin yun, kasi yun, nandun pa yung molecular model ko. Ngayon, hindi ko makita kung nasan. Naghahalongkat ako ng gamit sa bahay. Wait lang. Pag may question pa, just let me know, ha? Wait lang. Hanapin ko yung video. Siguro I think send ko na lang yung video. Hanapin ko muna dito sa YouTube. Andun, nag-describe din ako ng chirality, no? Okay, with models, no? Kung gusto niyo mas makita, yun, panoorin niyo yung video na isasend ko. But if things are somehow clear for now, siguro okay na yung mga pinagagawa ko kanina. Okay? And then you can download the recordings kasi once you click the link, may download button dun. Baka may question pa yung iba, ano? Hopefully nag-gets, no? Kahit paano. I know bago pa lang itong idea na to for most of you. Pero yun, it is what it is. Yun na yan. Sir, upload po ba sa Canvas tong PowerPoint? May PowerPoint na sa Canvas, no? Pero I think this is somehow different, no? Pero the content is similar. Pero sige, send ko dito sa group chat natin. Okay. Iba yun sa Oo nga eh. Teka lang. Sige, upload ko tong PowerPoint sa Pero yung idea same lang din. Okay. Mas maraming example nga lang sa PowerPoint na to. Kaya ito yung ginagamit namin. Upload ko sa chat box na lang natin dito. Okay? So after the session. Do you have any questions? 6 minutes before we end the class. Yes, Rebecca.
Sir, may kinalaman po ba to yung chirality sa yung L and D monosaccharides?
Yes.
Kasi po
Pero di-discuss natin yan next meeting. The
Sige.
L and the D saccharides. Okay. Andito pa yun eh. Good na nag-advance reading kayo na ayan, the L and D monosaccharides. Ano yan, sa Tuesday. Tuesday tayo, di ba? Yan. So Tuesday discuss ko yan. Ayan, so good na nagbabasa kayo. I like that attitude for students. Any other question? Last 5 minutes. Sana hindi kayo na-saturate sa mga pinagagawa natin. If you are not a visual learner, no, you will find this chirality quite hard. No? Medyo mahirap yung chirality. Kasi we're talking about the spatial arrangement, no? Yung pagkaka 3D ng molecule. Okay. Sir, sagot po dun sa last example mo. Ay, oo nga. Kinalimutan na. Masa na yun? Ito. Okay. So for this molecule here, this has no chiral center. No chiral center. Siguro, makikita nyo, ito. Uy, pwede ito siguro. Ito yung suspect natin. No? However, as you can see, this is ethyl. This is also ethyl. No? Parehas silang ethyl. Okay, so pag parehas ethyl, hindi na yung chiral. Okay? Pero, kunwari, ito, dugtungan ko to. Wait lang. Ulitin na natin. May next class pa kayo, no? May next class pa ba kayo? O ako na yung last class nyo? Pero kunwari, ganito yung ating molecule. This is a chiral carbon. Okay? Pag may BR doon, that will make this molecule chiral. Bakit? Kasi this group here is different with this one. And this thing is also different from the others. No? And don't forget may hydrogen doon sa likod, which is also different with the others. No? So dito siya magiging chiral. Pero yung kaninang drinawing ko earlier, ito, not chiral to. Siguro mag-upload ako ng worksheet sa Canvas, no. Non-graded siya. So pwedeng i-take nyo, pwedeng hindi, no. Mamaya upload ko. Mamili lang kayo, chiral na chiral, achiral, no. So ganun lang. Send ko mamaya, no. Pero again, hindi siya graded, ha. So okay lang i-take nyo yun or hindi. It's your choice. So last 3 minutes before we end our meeting. Any questions, clarifications, concerns? If may hindi clear, just let me know so I can respond to your questions. Pero otherwise, if things are okay naman, kaya naman maunawaan, then I think we can call this a day na. Okay? So thank you for attending the session today. No, again, we are supposed to discuss this next week, pero the reason why I discussed this earlier is para may leverage kayo compared to others, ha, para mas advance kayo kahit papaano. Okay, so thank you. I'll see you again Tuesday next week. Monday is a holiday, no, so basically you have a long weekend ahead. That is kung wala kayong pasok bukas. Okay, so see you again. Bye-bye. Stay safe. And as always, no, maghugas ng kamay at gumamit ng mask. Okay? And magpabakuna. Bye-bye. Yan. So, yun lang. Kalang end ko yung recording. Okay. Sige. So, bye-bye na.